Hey guys, back again with another video, and in this one I'm going to be painting some Warcry terrain. In one of my previous videos I recently bought the new Warcry 2-player starter set, and it's an amazing bit of kit. But today I am going to be doing the terrain pieces, so my plan is to have these painted from start to finish in probably 2-3 hours tops. At the minute it's 10:30. So hopefully want to get these done by about 1:30. Trying to make it as easy as possible and as quick as possible. So what I'm going to do is lay them all up on bits of card that I have. I haven't got any looking about in a minute. Yeah, that can be so around. Basically I've got these pieces of card, just thick cardstock. I'm going to double-sided tape them, stick all the terrain to them, spray paint a lot in one go. I'm going to do the toucan method of spray it one, spray it with another, spray it back with the first again, just to blend the two together. I'm going to do my terrain in a red colour, so it matches my iron golems, which I'm going to be doing red as well. I've seen a lot of videos with people doing blues and greens and kind of like ghostly type buildings, but I want to do something different really, so I'm going to go for a red. So what I'm going to do as well is use some contrast paint. I've got some, just here, I've got some Blood Angels red contrast paint that I'm going to use for the bottom sections of the models when I've finished spraying them. But plan is get them outside on my big old pasting table that I use for spraying things. I'm going to spray them black with Poundland spray paint, just matte black. It's cheap and cheerful, really does a really good job on terrain as well, and it doesn't cost a lot. So I'm going to do that. I'm probably going to need about 2 cans, I'd say, just for the sheer fact I want to do one coat and then I want to go over and do another light dusting just to make sure I get everything. Then what I'm going to do is use a Poundland grey primer, which is pretty much identical colour to this, which is Mechanicus Standard Grey. When it dries, really nice primer. As I said, it's cheap as pound a can. For terrain, you're not really going to worry about it being too bad, but say it really goes on really well. Doesn't dry with much of a gloss sheen to it, so you can give it a nice spray paint here and there. And then when they're dry, I'm going to then go over it with my Army Painter Red, which is up on them shelves. I think it's called Fire Dragon Red, which is quite bright. I used it on a previous commission that I did for somebody, so I've got about a quarter of a can left. So I'm just going to use that up because I don't think I'm ever going to use it again. But what I'm going to do is go down at a 45-degree angle with the red, just spraying it here, there and everywhere, just to kind of give it kind of like an evilish, kind of like industrial-esque glow. So it's like forges, that sort of thing, because obviously I assume the Iron Golems history is them making weapons and things, and they want to be the #1 weapon maker. So I'm going to give it a nice red spray, and then when that's done, I'm going to go back over it with the original grey primer, but I'm going to spray it probably 30 to 40 centimetres away at a flat, straight angle, just to blend the two colours together. And then, yeah, and then hopefully that'll be all good. The wood is just going to get a normal leather brown spray, but the actual planks I'm going to then go back and hand paint with a darker brown, just because obviously it's treated wood, so I'm going to do that, and then obviously bring them up from a dry brush with a lighter brown, and then blend both of the colours together with the Shabby Bone, but I use the Game Colours Bone White, which is basically the same thing. It's just I'm running out of Shabby Bone, so I use that. And then, yeah, and then what I'll do is I'll do some videos of me going along the way, show you the processes and what I'm doing, and then I shall see you back at the table. So I'll see you in a bit. I'm over here in the garden. I've got everything all put onto boards, onto my designated pasting table I use for spraying large amounts of scenery. They're all just glued together, prepped really. Tried to keep certain pieces on certain boards, so I've got like that one's just all full of wood and little tiny scat terrain. When I've basically sprayed all these black, what I'm going to do is get all the wood, put it onto this piece of board here, spray the lot brown, flip them over, spray the other side brown. That way I won't get brown overspray on any of the ruins. I'm going to be using, sorry about the wind, Poundland's matte black spray just as an undercoat because it's cheap. I've got grey primer as well that I'm going to be using. That's also from Poundland. I'm going to be doing a 45-degree angle spray of red because I don't really want to go for the greens and the blues that people most go for. So I'm going to have these based around my iron golems, which are going to be red as well. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of a red tinge. I'll probably go over some contrast paints as well. I've got the white primer as well that I'm going to be doing a 45-degree angle spray down as well. And also got the brown that I'm going to be using for all of the wood. So I'm going to spray all these up and I shall be back in a minute. The black primer is all now down. Nearly ran out, but luckily I just had enough left in the last can to give everything another little quick dust. So what I'm now going to do is I'm now going to go over with my leather brown and all the wood that is pretty much the spiky rough bits of tree, those bits, these bits here, and the bridge parts. They're all now going to get a coating of that because all these slats and stuff I'll paint with a lighter brown by hand, just because it'll be a bit neater and tidier. So what I'm going to do is now go over pretty much all of these as well and get the first coat of brown laid down, and I'll see you back in a second. Brown is now down onto the wood. It's got quite a nice chocolatey brown kind of look. That'll be getting probably a black and a brown wash later with a few highlights just to tie them in. I have to do a couple of coats on this because it was quite thin, but it worked out in the end. This is all the ruins now they've been hit with the grey. So what I did was got my grey, came in at a straight angle, no tilt, no nothing, so it was all just flat and straight. Really light dusting on them, just to get all the bases down really. Wasn't too worried about hitting the wood with the grey because that'll be getting all painted later. All the ruins, the head as well, which my favourite piece of scenery. It's really cool. Did the little scatter terrain as well and the little ponds they've been done, so they'll get water effects when they're finished. Haven't bothered with the two ladders because they'll get painted later with by hand. Same with this as well. Just hit up the sides and I'll paint the rest of the wood later by hand because it's quite intricate, that bit. But yeah, so that's the. See if I can get a bit in the light. So as I said, what I did was I come in at pretty much the angle you'll see in now. A couple of squirts. And just moved on to the next part really. As you can see, there's bits that I've left a little bit darker than others, because once this is dry I'm then going to come in at that kind of angle and hit it with a light dusting of red. And then once I've done the light dusting of red, what I'll do is then hit it with a white or possibly a grey again, just to mute it down a little. And then yeah, and then hopefully I can start the dry brushing and the washes when that's finished. Okay, so I'll do the red and I'll do the white and I shall come back with the finished product. Now done the red, what I've done with these is I went quite heavy with the red to start with, so it was very, very in your face kind of red. And then what I did afterwards was, once that had dried, I took my grey primer and, using this one here as an example, I came in probably about this kind of distance, so there was a good at least 30 plus centimetres between the scenery and the can, and just gave it a few squirts here and there, and it was just basically to kind of blend the reds and the greys in together. And I'll go over to the sunlight a bit so you can see the blending. So what that does is that then kind of blends the two colours together, and when this gets a lighter grey dry brush and a bit of wash, probably with some red contrast at the bottoms, what we'll do is it'll blend it in even more. I'll probably redo that corner again. I'll just blend it in a little bit more really. But as I said, I didn't want it the greens and the blues, and that's kind of, you see that kind of colour everywhere really for this, so I wanted something to tie in with my my iron golem's red, so decided to go with little bits of red. And obviously it still looks a bit rough now, but after the dry brush and some wash, as I said, it'll tie all the colours together really. But what I'm going to do now is go in with a little tiny bit of white and just dust from where I'm standing now, just dust lightly on top, just to give it a bit of a zenithal highlight before I get the dry brushing. I'll probably dry brush possibly with Ushabti Bone, or the Army Painter equivalent, just mainly because I don't really want to go white because it'll make it too bright. So yeah, but yeah, I'll be back in a second. Quick step whilst I'm pretty much mid painting everything with dry brushes now. This is what it looks like now after I've just hit it up with pretty much a light, just a downwards dry brush of Administratum Grey, which is a little bit lighter than what the original spray paint was, but as I say, I've just given it a straight down, hit everything up with a straight down dry brush, and that's pretty much highlighted some of it. But as you can see in this one, I've then gone back over it with just a normal white with a very light dry brush, and the difference between these two is pretty much night and day. You can see it's a lot brighter. Sorry, just put these around this way. It's a lot brighter. It's picked out a lot more of the detail. Literally just by doing a white dry brush, it's kind of muted a lot of the red as well, which is what I wanted. I just wanted bits of the red showing through from a top-down angle, so you can see there's bits of red still in the rock there and there, which is what I wanted. I wanted to have that kind of ominous glow of red. But yeah, I've done a couple of the fountains as well, in exactly the same way, just the grey and then the white. Obviously I'll go back and pick out all the metal spikes and all the little handles, and I'll do these in gold and things, and I'll pick out some little pieces here and there. But I'm thinking of actually doing all the bars and grills on them on the buildings over here, which I've all finished dry brushing all these in grey. I'm gonna do the grills in gold possibly, and then wash with brown, and then I'm going to dry brush with Necron Compound, I think, because I want something a little bit different, and gold tends to go quite well with red, so I thought I'll do it on one and see how well it turns out. But obviously I'll do the bell gold as well, and then once all the buildings are done, I'll go back through and then start working on the wood. So the time now is just gone 12 o'clock, so I'm making quite good progress. I want this all done by probably 1:30, 2 o'clock-ish, because then I've got a nice little batch of orcs that I've got to sit and paint, so I'll probably put a film on and sit and paint them. I'm going to do these as well. What I'm going to do with these is literally, I'm not too sure if I'm going to use the resin that I have, because it does get quite hot and I don't really want it to melt the plastic, as I don't know how durable this plastic is. So what I'm going to do is literally just pour a bit of blood for the blood god, just pour a little bit in there. It's not a majorly massive area to fill, so yeah. But as you can see, the difference a dry brush makes. And then what I'm going to do is go back and give these a dull coat, just to tone it down a bit more, and then I'll just go around the bottom with a large brush and just put some brown wash around the edges, and then I'll probably put a little bit of, I'm either going to use contrast Dark Oath Flesh for that, or I might go around and just do a little bit of Blood Angels, because I do want to incorporate the Blood Angels somewhere in this. But yeah, so I'll carry on, and I shall come back when all the buildings are done. Finally finished with all the Warcry scenery. It's taken a little bit longer than I expected. Hoping to have this done by about 2:30. It's now 5:30. Yeah, I think the main thing that took me the longest was painting all the skulls and all the metal details, but everything is now finally finished, and I shall show you what I have done. So this is all the wooden bits and pieces that I've done. So if you remember, these were all sprayed with the brown leather colour. I painted the planks in a Mornfang brown, which is just a darker brown, just to show a bit of differentiate between the two colours. So you've got two of those, which are both done. I've got the barricade piece. I wasn't really too fussed about painting the pieces of stone for these, because they are just barricadey bits, but I don't know, depending on how I feel at a later date, I might go back. But as you can see, all the skulls are individually painted, as well as the skeletons that are straps to the spikes. And say the most time consuming thing for me was just painting all these skulls. It was just so many of them. There's that piece. You've got this piece. All my metals I've gone over with lead belcher. Then I went over with typhus corrosion, I do believe it's called. And then I went over and just stippled on some rise of rust to make some rust effects. But as I say, all the skulls on this one are done as well. These barricades probably took the longest, actually, considering how quick it was to do the actual ruins. But so I've done all the metal, because you have to take your time around these, really, because a lot of the metal's moulded into where the bits of wood are. But these are also been all rusted up, just to give it. There's that one. Got this one, which I think was probably the most tedious one for me to paint, as it had two skeletons on it and all the chains connected to the bits of wood, so I had to take a little bit longer doing this one. I'll say all the chains are rusted as well. More skeletons. I'll probably go back and dry brush the skeletons when I get a bit of time, but for now they're tabletop ready, so it's not really much of a problem getting some more metal symbols. I'm not sure what these symbols are supposed to be. I'm not sure if they're supposed to be chaos symbols or just general symbols of something, but they are quite fun to paint. Again, some more skulls, which the skulls do look quite nice on these, because it does break up the massive amount of brown from all the logs and stuff. But as I say, that's all the kind of like the line of sight blockers, as it were. That's all those bits done. I did the two little fountain pieces as well. I just poured in a little bit of blood for the blood god, smeared a little bit around the edges. I'll probably go around with a smaller paintbrush and just do some little dots, dribbles down the front and what have you, like this one here. But so that'll do for what I need them to do. Now this is probably my most favourite piece of the scenery, is the sigmar head. It was so lovely to paint, and it looks just amazing. The amount of just the wood on top of it, and say the amount of skulls yet again. But so I went around the bottom of the stonework with, I used Dark Angels, Blood Angels Red, contrast paint, but I watered it down 10:1 ratio, so 10 parts water, 1 part contrast, just to get it a little bit thinned. It went all right. I'm still a bit bright for what I was looking for, but it's not too bad. But so this is one of my favourite pieces of scenery in the whole box. It's just an amazing bit of kit. Still got to paint the two ladders, but I forgot about them when I was painting them. But I'll get them done probably in the next 10-15 minutes after doing this video. But yeah, so I've done all the metal pieces. They're all painted up and weathered. The other side of it, with all the skulls. I do actually have somewhere. There it is. I didn't glue this part down just so that I could have it as like another little platform going to another section if I need. But so there's that one done, and onto the main buildings now. As I said in the previous bit of this video, I used the 2 spray method where I sprayed them, and you've seen how I worked on the spray. But what I then did was I then went round all of the grey, dry brushed it with a lighter grey, dry brushed it with white, and then I went round with, as I said, with the contrast paints, and they just gave it quite a nice little red hue to the bottom of the model. so makes it look like it's got kind of like a red underglow, as it were. I've rusted up all the bell and used typhus corrosion. I was going to use lilac oxide, but I really didn't want to. In the end, done all the wood. The wood was really easy to do. It's literally just Mornfang brown, all the planks, and then I just dry brushed it with a shabby bone, and then went over it with the what's it called, Agrax Earthshade, and that was essentially it. There was no more work needed doing to the wood. The metal was just bolt gun metal, or whatever it's called now. I think it's called bolt gun metal. Was it? Lead belcher, sorry. So that was just done with lead belcher. Washed with brown. I washed it at the same time I washed the wood, and then I just went over it with Nuln Oil just to get a bit more depth of colour to it, and then typhus corrosion, and then a dry brush of Rise of Rust on top of that, just to make it look like it's been a bit bad and bruised. As you can see on the building where I sprayed the red spray paint, you've still got the red hue in the cracks and gaps. The same at the bottom there. So that's the tower. Put that over there. One of the smaller sections of the building. All the metal, yeah, again done the same as the bell, all rusted up. As you can see, the red hue turned out on the building parts a lot nicer. It makes it look more like a kind of like a lava-y type of red glow to the base, which I think will look quite nice on the table. As I said in a previous bit of this video, I didn't really want to do it with the greens and blues like other people, so I decided to go for red, and it turned out quite well actually, pretty much better than what I expected. But as you can see there, all the red hue in the brick, but if you look at it from the other direction, it's all just grey from where I've dry brushed, all just in a downwards motion. So there's that bit. I've got the two big sections now. This one was all done exactly the same, so it's all been rusted up. It's got all the wood, the red hue to the base as well. Pictures this up on my Facebook, which is called Tabletop Painter, just to show off some up close pictures. Pictures as well that I did. So there's the other section of building, and then you've got one last piece which is a little bit smaller. This one's got the gate section on it as well. So went round and I rusted up where the padlock is. I might add a bit of lilac oxide to it at a later date, but as I said, these are now tabletop ready. So once I get my little warband painted up, then I can start gaming with them really. Got little bits of scatter terrain as well, some little bits of wall that I can use, and there's a couple of bits of scatter terrain. So I'm probably going to paint some of these little vials and vases and things, get them painted up. But yeah, that is the scenery, and it's taken probably the best part of 6 hours, double what I was expecting, but there we go. Okay guys, so that's the scenery that I have painted today. Did a bit of commission work afterwards, that's why I'm putting this video up a bit late, just get some bits and pieces done. But so I started this about 10:30, about 10 o'clock. I put everything down onto the cardboard, got it outside, put it on the table, and just started spraying it from there. And yeah, it's taken a good 6 hours, but I'm really chuffed on how it's turned out. Amazing bits of scenery, so detailed, really nice pieces. Did change a few things along the way. I was going to go with gold for the bars and things, but I just went with the standard silver because it was a lot easier. I didn't have to do multiple coats, just quickly slap it on, hope for the best. But yeah, I hope you like what I've done. My next video for Warcry will probably be the warbands that I'm painting, so I'll get my iron golems done up first and get them all done and finished. But yeah, that's the scenery. Thanks for watching, and happy wargaming.